Hello, everybody. This is Brad Berzer, editor, one of the editors of Spirit of Cecilia. This is our first podcast. We don't even know what we're calling ourselves yet. Something maybe we'll talk about here in a moment. I am joined by two other editors and my very close friends, Tad Wert and Kevin McCormick. And yeah, so thanks for joining us today, everybody, you guys, Tad and Kevin, but also anyone who actually is listening to us. We'll see what kind of audience we get. So we've thought about a couple of things for names, but yeah, why don't we go ahead? Tad, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about yourself, and yeah, if you don't mind, that'd be great.
Sure. Sure. Thanks, Brad. Thanks for organizing this. This is fun. I'm Tad Wert, and I came of age in the 70s. And the first concert I went to was Emerson, Lake and Palmer on their
Did not
Works
know that.
tour. Yeah,
Wow, that's
so
amazing.
that was exciting. Sophomore in high school, and saw them with a big orchestra and everything. So I've
Wow.
always loved progressive rock, and then new wave came. I love that music too. I'm just always been a music nut. So one of my favorite things to do is talk about it with my friends.
That's awesome.
So Tad, talk a little bit more about that. Because you were a DJ in college, right?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
I was a DJ at WRVU, the Vanderbilt radio station, and played. It was in 1980 to 83, so I played a lot of new wave and alternative bands. And REM was just breaking out then, so they came and did an in studio conversation. It was a lot of
Oh,
fun.
wow.
You
Yeah.
got to
Wow,
meet
that's
them?
great.
Yeah, they
Oh,
were
that's
just,
great.
just starting out, so they played at a little club here in Nashville all pretty regularly.
Wow.
That's
Yeah, I
great.
imagine that. I mean, that's kind of the close to the area where they're from. So, I mean,
Yeah.
imagine that would have fit into their kind of their region.
Yeah, Nashville's definitely on their circuit. They came through at least once or twice a month.
Oh,
Were they
wow.
good guys?
Oh yeah, super nice. Peter Buck especially, really nice, and Mike Mills, just fantastic guys.
Yeah.
That's great. Wow, that's really cool, Tad. So, Tad,
Yeah.
just tell us a little bit now. So, who are some of your favorite bands at the moment, or over time?
Oh gosh, I've always liked Yes a lot. At the moment, I really love Glass Hammer and Frost. Been listening to a lot of Frost, even though it's been almost a year since their last album. And I like Depeche Mode. I know that's not a mutual love of yours, but I like the synth pop stuff a lot. So listen to them a lot.
Yeah, that's great, Tad. Good. Well, Kev, why don't you introduce yourself?
Sure. My name's Kevin McCormick, and I am a lifelong music fan. I have uh, my love is really anything that's really serious about takes music seriously, and also I love good lyrics. So I tended to focus a lot on that when I was much more younger when I was younger. So I like music that especially music that has some kind of connection to the larger range of music that over history. So I like music that's got connections to classical, jazz. I like music that's got connections to chant. so
Mhm.
so any of that really, even if it's brought into a modern context, I think it can be done well. So I just like that personally. And as a composer myself, I find myself drawn to that kind of thing. So Brad and I met in college after a geology class, I think, right? And
Yep. What was his name? Father
I can't remember. I can't
Murphy. Father
remember.
Murphy.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
it.
that's right.
He
Right.
was an interesting guy, but not too interesting for us to not be cracking up in the back a little bit. So,
Yeah,
um,
yeah. Remember, we were talking so much, I had to move to the front, even as a freshman in college. Oh my
oh
gosh.
wow, that's funny.
Yeah. But yeah, also, Tad, you probably know this, but Kevin and I used to DJ together too. And
Oh, great.
Kevin had a really great band at Notre Dame called St. Paul and the Martyrs.
Ah,
And yeah, so almost every weekend it seems like you guys played cover. I mean, at least
It
that's
was
my
it was
memory.
busy. Yeah, senior year was pretty busy, but it was it was club stuff. It wasn't anything big. But we did do at the end, kind of midway through the second semester of our senior year, we did a full performance of Dark Side of the Moon.
oh wow.
So that was probably our big moment. So
Yeah, that was amazing. Really amazing. And
um,
Kev, you had a high school band too.
yeah, so my brothers and I, my older brother was a pianist, and my younger brother played drums, and we connected with another guy who played bass. So we had a group in San Antonio, Intrigue, and we again played clubs and did shows and stuff. It was also you know there almost both of those groups we were doing mostly covers. We had written a few things of our own, but most of what we did was cover stuff. So
Yeah, and what were you doing mostly new wave?
for the high school band in particular, we were really more focused on that. We did everything of that era. So, and my older brother had gotten into keyboards pretty heavily at that point. So you can imagine it kind of came right at the right time for him. So we had a lot of technology on his side
Yeah.
of this, and then in college, that band was really more a classic rock band, and that's where we ended up doing Floyd, and we did Long Distance Run Around the Fish. That was Brad's favorite to dance to. So I might even have some footage of that. So
Yeah. Gangly me all over the
yeah,
dance
well, you
floor.
and you and my soon to be wife Lisa, where they were usually up front dancing together, so it was good.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. It was really amazing. Great times. Well, good. So I'm Brad Berzer, and I teach. My full-time job as a professor of history at Hillsdale College here. I'm here, where I'm recording from Southern Michigan. So it's here, but it's not where Tad and Kevin are. So kind of a bizarre here. But I've been here now 27 years, and I too am just a huge music fan. I was introduced to Yes and Genesis and Kansas and Jethro Tull by my two older brothers. So from a very early age, I loved progressive rock. And then like Tad and Kevin, I really got into new wave too, especially the Fix and Thomas Dolby and the Cure. And of course, the Cure is one of well, and all those actually, Thomas Dolby and the Fix. I mean, they're new wave, but they've got really strong progressive elements in everything that they're doing. So I,
Yeah.
I don't, I don't think, and then especially Talk Talk, and
Tears for
now
Fears.
Tears for Fears, huge for me
Hmm.
in every way. In fact, the very best concert I've ever been to was a Tears for Fears. Even though I don't even know how many Rush concerts I've been to, and I love Rush, but Tears for Fears was the best concert I ever went to. That was back in 2015 in Denver, Colorado. Just amazing. So yeah, I mean, those bands too. I mean, Tears for Fears, new wave, but such clever pop like XTC. It becomes something more than new wave and really veers much more into progressive rock. So yeah, I'm just even at age 58, I've never stopped listening to this stuff. And we had kind of agreed, for those who are listening to the three of us right now, we had kind of agreed that we would talk a little bit about Frost today, and we'll get to that in just a little bit. But yeah, so we just kind of wanted to introduce ourselves. And so our website, if you've not gone there, though my guess is if you're listening to this, you've gone there, is Spirit of Cecilia. And we actually started off a website in 2012, so 14 years ago, called Progarchy. And we were really involved with that for a long time until about 2018. And then we started Spirit of Cecilia. And so there are two other editors. We're three of the main editors of the website, but we also have Carl Olson and Eric Heater, who are our other two main editors as well. And maybe we'll get them on the podcast too at some point, because we had Tad came up with the very clever idea of calling this Brad and Tad's Excellent Adventure. But then, poor Kevin and poor Carl and poor Eric. So we can't make this a duopoly. We have to be more ecumenical than that. But what do you guys think of a name for this? I know Tad and I jokingly, when we email each other, we always call each other proglings. But I don't know if that fits but you guys have any recommendations for what we can call this podcast?
Oh, wow. I'm not one to toss something out, but I'd certainly be willing to give it some thought. I think we could come up with something good.
Yeah, yeah. How about you, Tad? I think you're our
Yeah.
ideas man.
Well, I came up with the Proglings because you're such an authority on the Inklings. And so I thought, well, why don't we just call ourselves the Proglings? Because that's what we're knowledgeable about.
Yeah, I like that. And I like the Inklings connection too. That's really great. So I think that's a great idea. Let's just kind of bandy that around for a bit. Maybe we can talk to Eric and Carl too
Sure.
and see what they think. Maybe they've got
Also,
some
given
good
the fact that
ideas.
if we bring the other two in, especially Carl, we're kind of spread across the country. So long distance runaround might be a good idea.
That's good.
Oh, I like that. Right. Right.
Yeah.
Transamerica, something like that. Yeah, yeah. I like that very much. Trans Am.
Actually, Brad, I don't know. I don't know where you wanted to take this immediately, but the historical part that you were mentioning about being into 70s rock and then this kind of shift to the 80s new wave or whatever, what do you want to call it? I really do. We've talked about this many times, but I really don't think it's such a strange thing. I mean, it may seem like it's a shift, but really it's taking the same vein of what began in the 70s and really much more so than those bands that kind of retained some more of the superficial components of prog rock. I really think the spirit of it makes more sense. The fact that the Buggles became Yes, to me, that's the moment, and it's a precise moment when MTV becomes a thing. But really, that moment where we have this change we have a prog rock meeting the new technology that was so so much there. And a big shift in terms of what the guitar does, and a big change in the introduction of artificial keyboards, artificial, synthetic, if you want, keyboards, and what they were capable of. So I think that it's not such a strange thing, actually. I really find a lot of the same threads, artistic and compositional threads, appear frequently, not just in the bands you mentioned, but in a lot of the bands of that era. I mean, I think of something like Echo and the Bunnymen and what they did with the combination of orchestral instruments with punk. I mean, it seems like a strange thing. They're coming from a punk era, and then at one point, Ocean Rain, they start to bring in a compositional element that makes it much more like prog rock, I think.
Yeah, that's a great point, Kevin. And there's so many great albums of the time. I mean, you think about Drama by
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
Power Windows. I know that's 5 years later, but Power Windows by Rush. Think about Reach the Beach. Think about The Hurting by Tears for Fears. I mean, those are four albums right there that I think it would be almost impossible to classify as either prog or new wave.
Yeah.
Or
There's
Discipline by
such
King Crimson.
or
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
the three, right? The Beat and what is it? Lark's. What's the third? The yellow one, Tad.
I know what you're talking about, but I can't remember it.
Three of a Perfect Pair.
Yeah, three of a perfect pair, right? I mean, you get those three, and so yeah. I mean, where do you find a kind of difference there? And I know it's popish more than new wave, but even Hounds of Love is
Yeah.
such a mix of again, kind of a later new wave, a
Absolutely.
poppier new wave, and what's going on with prog. So yeah, I like that.
But
So
even the
Kevin,
terminology, even when we call it prog rock, progressive rock, it has a sense of progression that we're building, we're going somewhere new. It's not ossified into one style. And I think personally, I'm getting ahead of ourselves, I'm sure, but personally, that's where I find sometimes the prog music that has been made since that time, especially from the 90s forward, sometimes it feels like it's trying to be something from the 70s, and I'm not sure that that's really the spirit of what was going on at that time.
Yeah, so that would be a great transition into Frost, and thinking about where Frost fits because for those who are listening, right, and what we're going to do, we decided that for our first discussion, besides introducing ourselves, we also wanted to look at Frost, and I think there are reasons that we think Frost is important as a band. Um, they are always called neo prog. And I don't even know what that term means. I don't know if it's a helpful term at all, but they're clearly in what they do with guitar, bass, keyboards, drums. They are progressing in the sense that you can really feel that there's a kind of old Tears for Fears element, the hurting in the way that they structure their songs. But there's also that deep kind of 70s yes feel as well. And so they're blending those perfectly. So Tad, you're really our foremost expert on Frost. So why don't you talk about them for a little bit, why you're attracted to them, and then maybe we can just talk about some of their albums and their music.
Yeah, sure. And right away, I want to apologize. If you can hear a whining noise, it's because they're doing construction around me. Okay,
I can't, Tad. It's not
good.
coming through.
Okay, good. Well, Brad, I have you to thank for introducing me to Frost. Years ago, you told me about what a great album Million Town was, and I'd never heard of them. And I picked it up and I just immediately fell in love with it. And I've since then I've bought every album that Jim and his friends have put together. And I was reading the 13 Winters booklet of their box set, and he said that he was heavily influenced by synthwave, Thomas Dolby and Depeche
Yeah.
Mode and all that. So that there's that connection again. He came straight out of that musical scene. And what I love about Jim's work is that to me, the melody is the most important thing, and he just has an inexhaustible supply of beautiful melodies that are just so catchy and so fun. And on top of that, his lyrics are always really interesting as well. So I guess that's why I like them so much is because he was listening to the same bands that I was loving so much in the 80s, and it shows in his music. Also, I was thinking about how important John Mitchell is to his work because this guy, I was thinking about all the bands he's been in. He's almost as varied as Neil Morris. He was in Keno, It Bites, Lonely Robot, his own band, and Arena. And then he's also in Frost, and he does a lot of the singing and all the guitar work in Frost. So I think John Mitchell has a big role to play in how good Frost music is.
Yeah, that's great, Tad. And I totally agree with you. I guess I've been listening to them now for about 20 years. And I first came across Million Town and then Experiments in Mass Appeal, roughly 20 years ago. And I was just so taken with what they were doing. And I love the fact that they could introduce electronica without being repetitious. That is,
Hmm.
they're really implementing it in a way that no other band, no other prog band certainly was doing. And for a while, Jim was really active on social media. And I always enjoyed. He was very clever. He wasn't really political. He had some great cultural commentary, but not really political commentary. So I always appreciated that about him. But I think for me, what really solidified my love of them was the double CD that they put out live in Philadelphia. Right, where they've got Nick DiVirgilio doing the drums for them, and I just I don't know if you guys are familiar with that album,
Mm-hmm.
but they do that opening, which if we get permission, I would love to play a little bit for you. But they do that just hilarious Monty Python-esque opening, and these guys can pull it off. They're
Hmm.
that funny, and we are Frost, we are here. We're going to drink your beer. This great and this just kind of wonderful sing-song introduction. And then they go right into the music in the concert. And, I wasn't there, but just listening to that concert, these guys are drop dead hilarious and yet so, so good in what they're doing. So that's what really, I just love that. I mean, I just think that for them to have that kind of humor, but to also really get into serious topics. The day and age, falling satellites, life in the wires. These are heavy topics.
Yeah.
The lyrics are serious stuff.
Well, it
So I
sounds a
like
bit
them a
like
lot.
Rush starting with Three Stooges as their intro music, which I think is
Yeah,
Right.
and again, Rush can get away with it, right? I've seen other bands where they just fail trying to do that.
yeah.
But certainly like Frost and Rush can get away with it. This is great. Kev,
Anyways, I'm
Frost
not
is new to
super
you.
familiar with Frost. Is it one guy?
I well, the band has several, but there are three main figures in it. But the main guy is Jem Godfrey. And he's probably, Kev, I would guess he's a year or two younger than we are.
Okay.
But basically our generation. And he's got a brother who's also really well known, Simon Godfrey, who's hilarious on social media. I mean, like again, almost it's hard to follow him just because you're laughing out loud reading his posts. They're not always PG, but they
Uh,
are truly funny. And he was in a band called a pretty big band in Britain called Tiny Fish. And so was involved in a number of different things. But yeah, Jem Godfrey is the main guy behind Frost. But Kev, you're much newer to them than Tad and I are. And what do
yeah.
you think listening to him?
Well, I think the one I was listening to was it Falling Satellites? I think that was the one that I
Hmm.
had, but I was
That's their
listening
third
to
one.
the third one, yeah, and it was from 2016. Um, yeah, I mean, it is really an interesting combination. Like, especially you can tell he's got the mini mode going on a lot of tracks where he's really, really taking that. It just sounds very different to me. It doesn't sound like he's trying to be Rick Wakeman or anything. He's
Right.
really actually incorporating it in a different way. So much so that it took me a moment to realize, oh, that's what that is. It's actually a keyboard, because sometimes it sounds like he's just creating the atmospherics with it. And so, to me, that's great. That's a sign of good composition. If you're not totally focused on, well, what instrument is that? It's just like, oh, but that's the soundscape what we're being drawn into, which I think is great.
Yeah. Yeah. No, well stated. Well stated. So Tad, from what I know, they are working, or it looks like from what they posted on Facebook, that they're working on a new album. Do you have any insight into that at all?
No, I don't. I didn't realize that. That's great. They're about due for one though, because now they're putting one out about every 2 years. And Kevin, you're asking, is it just one guy? And Jim Godfrey is the main writer and composer, but John Mitchell also co-writes some stuff with him. And then Craig Blundell has been their drummer for the last several years, and
Well, I mean, he's quite a player. Oh my
he's
God.
quite a player.
Wow.
And then Nathan King is the bassist, and he is Mark King's brother, who was the bassist in Level 42.
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay.
I didn't
So
know
Wow.
that either, Tad. Okay.
yeah, so they've
Wow.
got that connection too. Um,
Yeah. So these
Was
are
Level 42 a British? What is this, a British
yes,
group? Is this
they're
a British
British,
group?
right?
They are. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I mean that he's phenomenal. Uh,
yeah,
I mean, just fantastic.
yeah. Nathan is his little brother, and I think he even played in Level 42 himself for a little bit. I'm not
Wow.
sure about
Okay.
that, but I think he did.
Wow.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is interesting. A lot of times when Frost is introduced, they're always introduced as a super group. And you can see why with that kind of talent in there.
Uh,
But I would love to see them live. And I've got a few. I've got everything they've recorded. I'm a completist when it comes to Frost. But man, their live albums, their live stuff is great. They're so tight. And they
Hmm.
really, even though it's clear they love the studio, they are able to reproduce all of that live. which has to just take incredible work to
Yeah.
make that all work out the way it does. And once again, again, Kevin, for you in particular, because I know you haven't heard a lot of Frost, but
Right.
they're funny. I mean, in
Oh,
between songs, the jokes are just hilarious. And
huh.
even though I've now listened to these recordings, hundreds of times, the jokes don't get old. And I think there's just something about these guys. They're just super intelligent and super talented. And so
Yeah.
it's wonderful to listen to them. Really
Wow.
wonderful.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
watching the Island Live DVD, and they all are wearing white t-shirts with their name, birth date, and their gender.
Yeah, it's pretty funny actually. That's a great CD. So I don't know if they're coming to America anytime soon, but man, they'd be a blast.
Yeah, they
So
obviously they just exude joy in everything they do.
yeah. Well, look, guys, I got the warning that we've only got 9 minutes left on our
Okay.
recording. So you guys have any other comments on Frost? Anything you want to add?
Well, I just wanted to say a good word about their last record, Life in the Wires, which I think it's probably my favorite record in the last 5 years. I cannot
Oh,
stop
wow.
listening to it, and it's a 2 disc set, and it just flies by. I listened to the whole thing all at once, and it's a concept album about in the near future when AI runs everything, and this young man hears a radio broadcast, kind of like a pirate radio station, and he goes off in search of it, while the AI Big Brother is chasing him down. And it's a really interesting story, and the music is just incredible. It's unbelievable, and Jim does all the vocals on this one, which is unusual for Frost, but he does a really good job, I think. So I just want to put in a good word for that album, Life in the
And when
Wires.
did that when was that released?
That came out in 2025,
Okay.
so it's very recent, but it's phenomenal.
Yeah, and from Inside Out Sony, right? That's their
Yes.
label. So they've got a lot of backing behind them as well. Yeah, Kev, I recommend it too. It's one of those albums I can put on anytime, and just even though it's a double album, I just fly through it.
Oh,
And
really?
beautiful concept album where they keep repeating certain themes, but they don't get old. You don't get tired of it. It's like, okay, that theme really works. They do a great job. Um,
Exactly.
yeah, so that's great, and hopefully we'll have something new from them as well. But if not for a while, that'll keep us satisfied. Life in the Wires is a great album. Are you guys listening to anything else right now? Anything that you want to talk about?
Wow. Mainly, actually, no. For me, it's tricky. And Brad, we've talked about this a little bit, but for me, with where my time has been lately, my focus has really been much more on composition. So,
Yeah,
um, uh, I just every opportunity I have where I can just sit and listen to music is a joy. So I oftentimes will retreat back to things that I really love. Hounds of Love is actually one that I've been listening to recently, especially because Lisa, my wife, really loves Kate Bush, and of course my daughters now all love Kate Bush, so,
yeah,
which is really
yeah,
really interesting. So it's
yeah.
fun to go
My
back and listen to that music and listen to some even her earlier stuff, even Kate Bush's earlier stuff, where you realize just how much pushing the boundaries she was, and yet it's engaging. It's fascinating. Her story is it's like listening to a good poet, and she can just tell it. I found it very enchanting. So I get drawn into that. So probably that's the most recently what I've been listening to on my own.
Oh, it's great, Kev. How about you, Tad?
I have been listening to Everything But the Girl. Do you remember them?
I remember the name. I don't know the band.
Yeah, I don't know
Okay.
them, Tad.
Well, they just re-released their debut album from, I guess it was maybe 1983, called Eden, and it's twice as long now with all kinds of demos and stuff, but it's really good. It's Tracy Thorn and Ben Watt, and it's jazz. The early stuff is very jazzy, and she's an incredible vocalist. And so if you like just sophisticated jazz pop, I'd recommend that. It's a brand new re-release, Everything But the Girl Eden.
I'll have
Hmm.
to take a look. Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds
Thanks,
good.
Tad. Yeah, I've been listening to the new Bruce Sword album a lot. I think it's beautiful. Ghosts in the Park. I mean, he's one of my favorite. He's up there for me. Not quite at Big Train level, but I love the Pineapple Thief and everything they're doing, and I love everything he does solo wise. So that's been great. But the other really great album I got, and we got a review copy of it. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to listen to it yet, but from Charisma Records, the On Sagan Ensemble. I've been listening to that almost nonstop.
Hmm.
It's not out yet. I've got a review copy, but man, I highly recommend that to anyone. It reminds me a little bit of early Pink Floyd, a little bit of the early Moody Blues, and a little bit of Talk Talk. It's just a really interesting group of musicians and instruments, and truly an ensemble in what they're doing. So that's been great. And for whatever reason, I've been on a total Steve Winwood traffic kick as well. And I've been listening to John Barleycorn over and over again. So really, really great stuff. Good, guys. Well, we've got about 3 minutes left. You want to add anything? I mean, I'd like to tell our listeners, we're planning on doing this regularly, and we are hoping to have guests on. So we've already got contact with Steve Babb of Glass Hammer, and he's up for doing a podcast with us. I'd really like to ask John Galgano and Laura Mead of Is to join us. And I'd love to ask Greg Spotten to join us. And if we can get Bruce Sword or some of these other people, I think it'll be great. So what do you guys think?
I think
That
it's
would be
fantastic
great.
idea. Yeah, I think that's great.
Good. And Kev, we're gonna keep forcing you to listen to new music
Yeah,
more
I
and
think that's a
more.
good thing. That's that's what I need. A good
Yeah.
kick in the pants to listen to it. No, I love everything. I do want to say about Spirit of Cecilia is it just it's so wonderful in the way you, especially Brad, you kind of give it some direction and keep it going. But with all five kind of bringing something, it seems like there's new energy. There's enough dynamic there that there's new energy all the time. And I just love hearing about what's going on. It's fascinating.
Yeah, and you had Tad's book reviews, which are
Yeah.
fantastic, and Eric Heater's recent, 5-part essay on
Oh
AI.
yeah. Fantastic
Yeah, I
on
mean,
AI.
so
That was
so
great.
so so we're definitely, I mean, for those who are new to our website, I would call us a Christian humanist website. That is, we're rooted in traditional faith, but we're extremely interested in innovation and art. We love books, we love movies, we love good TV shows, but we especially love good music. So I think that's really the heart of what we're trying to do. But as we say on the website, we're very interested in how the individual human person, in a dignified and glorious manner, basically embraces creation and loves the idea of creating, loves the idea of creation, loves to put real art and truth and goodness and beauty back into the world. All right, guys. Well,
That's a
this has
great way to
been
put it.
fun.
Yeah. Thanks, Bradley.
Yeah,
Thanks,
thank you
Brad.
guys. All right. So we have concluded our first podcast. We still don't have a name, but here we are. If you, the listener, have an idea, let us know what you think we should call ourselves. But at this point, we're Brad, Tad, and Kevin. Okay. Thanks, everybody. God bless.
God bless. Take care.
Take care.